10-year-olds and tweens are destroying Drunk Elephant at Sephora. This has been confirmed. The question that keeps coming up is, why are they such a-holes? Why are they such jerks and such brats? Why is this a stereotype? And I've heard so many accounts of people being bullied out of the store, like older people and older adults. I even had anxiety when I went, and I heard this story of a girl at Target recently who had bottles of conditioner grabbed out of her hand as these kids made fun of her. Let's talk about why there is this stereotype. Is it Sephora's job? Because again, look at this. Is it Drunk Elephant's job? This looks like kids' toys. This looks like building blocks. I have a theory on this. And even the product itself, is skincare not like Play-Doh? Of course, kids, teens, and preteens are going to emulate what they see online. But this really gets into developmental psychology, which I think is important to talk about. I spoke to someone with a BS in psychology, absolutely brilliant. I don't know if she wants me to say her name. Happy to if she wants me to, but wanted to understand why is there this stereotype of teenagers being such jerks? And again, whose fault is it? Is it Sephora's fault? Is it Drunk Elephant's fault? Is it the parents? Who's responsible to fix this? Because when you actually go from macro to micro, it's fascinating. So have you seen this? This is from Erik Erikson, and he basically has this idea of these different stages of psychology. And as we are growing up in these developmental stages, we either have one or the other. And when someone enters this preteen stage, they're essentially looking for independence. Do they have role confusion or independence? This is a really unique time of everyone's life. Did I get that all off? Well, in order to understand this, we also have to talk about a hierarchy of needs. Have you heard about this? Essentially, if you don't have the bottom needs fulfilled, the top ones won't be filled. Things like shelter, food, safety, but then also love and belonging. This is where this pack mentality comes in, because way back when, if we didn't have a group to fit in with, we weren't going to survive very long. So in this role confusion versus identity and independence phase, essentially young teens are rebelling against authority, trying to find independence. They're pushing the limit. They're saying, who am I? And part of that process is explorative. Can I disobey curfew? Can I, push back on something? Now, there are other ways to explore an identity that don't harm other people, businesses, or bully others. Things like makeup, creativity, skincare, etc. But a lot of young teens don't do that. And specifically, a lot of people start to act out for attention. In this specific developmental stage of life, look, we match. In this stage of life, people are looking to understand where they belong, where they fit in. And yes, they're often looking to celebrities or to other figures to almost adopt traits of that personality, to try it on and see, does this fit with me? Now, for some people, they are looking for attention. And it doesn't matter if that attention is good or bad. Doing something like this is not good for anyone, but you can bet that this gets attention, just the way a young teen acting out with parents, with her teachers, his or hers, whoever's, right? But they're trying to find out what their identity is. And for some people, especially those who may be struggling with other things at home, maybe they're not getting the attention they need from their parents, maybe they're being ignored, maybe they're failing out of classes or struggling with something, you can bet that they're going to start lashing out or acting out in other ways to try to make up for that attention based on that hierarchy of needs, because they're looking, where is my identity? Where do I belong? And if other people are at least paying attention, one of those needs is being met. Even though it's negativity, someone at this age is having a hard time parsing out basically the nuance of life. Everything is not black and white. It's not yes or no, right or wrong. It's not binary. There's a lot of grayscale in between, right? But for someone at that age, the brain is still developing. For young girls, it's until like 25 on average. You can imagine that they don't really have the ability to think big picture and think, what are the consequences of this action? Is this really helping me? Or is this just a quick way to get attention? I'm acting out, I'm making these rash impulse decisions because they don't have the cognitive capacity to hold all of those different scenarios in their mind and to look from an outside view and say, why am I acting out? Is this acting out? Am I trying to defy authority? Am I struggling? Right? I have to say, I was guilty of this too. When I was a young teenager, I didn't destroy samples in Sephora, but I explored my identity through makeup, through cosmetics. I struggled with severe chronic cystic acne. I was being bullied at school. I was offered basically, you can switch schools, or we'd have to put everyone at school on probation because everyone's bullying you. I was never thrown into a dumpster fire, but that made me feel like it was my fault, right? And I definitely acted out in other ways. I had an issue with shoplifting. I'm so happy I got caught. But for teens that are acting out in this way, is it the parents? Is it they need a place at school where they can express themselves? They need identity exploration in a healthy way? Is it Sephora's job to limit samplers? There's a lot of psychosocial development that goes way beyond Sephora. But I'd love to know what you think.